On your Wednesdays, Loose Women Live. It's Christine Lampard, Katie Piper, Olivia Atwood-Dack, and Dame Kelly Holmes.
Hello and welcome to your midweek Loose Women. Coming up, as Dua Lipa's sister Rina refers to the pop star as her biggest teacher, we share the stories of what our siblings have taught us. And over 2 million people tuned in to Kaye Garraway's documentary last night. We share our reaction to the heartbreaking moments. And after this dramatic scene...
Who is Emily?
She's...
Joel.
She's my wife.
Will Corey's Dee Dee and Joel find their way back to each other? We'll be quizzing actors Shanique Sterling-Brown and Callum Lill a little later to find out. First today, though, it is the story that has to be seen to be believed. The collapse of a bridge in Baltimore after it was hit by a container ship. 6 people are still missing, are now presumed dead in the tragedy. It's absolutely shocking. It's like a scene from a movie, isn't it? And I think it's just the sort of matchstick approach to it. It's like one goes and the whole thing has crumbled. Yeah. And I couldn't believe it when I was watching it. And I know the boat sort of basically lost power, and there's a lot of now probably massive amounts of investigations into what happened. But the boat did manage to mayday ahead at least 5 minutes, I think it was, to say we have no power here, we've lost the steering. So we were hoping that that in some way allowed the police and the authorities to stop some of the traffic coming across the bridge. But as we say, there are, sadly, some people presumed dead at this point, and it's an awful sight, isn't it?
It was really frightening to watch, and I suppose now we get to see these things unfold, and we see them on social media at the tips of our fingers. But I think it's important to stay rational when we see things like this, because these huge catastrophes don't happen very often, which is why, you know, it's a subject for us to discuss and everyone's sharing it. And I often think I'm in quite a unique position with my Burns charity, where I will meet people regularly who have had catastrophes that have changed their life. But we must remember it's so few and far between, and not let that leave us in a state of heightened anxiety, because otherwise we'd never do anything. You know, we must remember how rare it is.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. But it's great, you do... definitely, I think since having children, I've just become a walking risk assessment for her. Constantly going, that's a pointy edge there, that door might slam on your finger. I'm thinking about things, again, that probably won't happen, but you just can't help yourself. And this, sadly, is one of those cases. No one's going to think that this bridge is going to collapse. And even listening to some of the residents in the area on the news last night, they were really emotional. Not only have people lost their lives, potentially, but it was a landmark. It was the backdrop to where they lived, and suddenly it's just not there anymore. And it's like you say, like, it doesn't happen thankfully often, but when it does, it's tragic.
Yeah, I find things like that just horrific. You look, and I was just having to watch it because you just don't believe it's happening. You know, that's a huge bridge, and like you say, matchsticks falling down, like it just crumbled. But all my eye went to was the lights on the bridge. I was thinking, that's lorries and cars. Can you imagine the horrific feeling, the terrifying feeling of those people going in, and the workers, because I think they were working at the time. And then your head goes to, well, that's got to be human error. You want to blame someone for it, don't you? That's got to be human error. Why did they, you know, drive into the side? I mean, we don't know that. But looking at that again, you just think, I mean, that is just pure fear. And no matter that it might not happen, we hear of so many big things happening as well these days. It could be a tsunami, it could be a bridge falling down, it could be a huge explosion. You know, we're getting so in tune with seeing so much. You could, I suppose, get desensitised in one way, but in another way think, oh, my God, look at this.
You can get like that.
Yeah, I felt a bit like that in the morning, actually, and I mean it in no way of insensitivity, but it was like, you know, when you're just on your phone, and like Kelly said, we see so much horrible stuff all the time coming through our phones, like, you know, horrible images and world tragedies, and I read it in the morning and I saw it and I just kind of consumed it, and then I put my phone away, whatever, and then later in the day I was like, hold on, what did I actually look at this morning? Like, was that real? Like, you know, like you say, it's really sad, but we are kind of bombarded with a lot of tragedy.
We are, sadly. Well, just honestly, for all the families affected and everything else, your heart goes out to them. It's a terrible thing. Now, millions of us tuned in to Kate Garraway's documentary last night, Derek's Story, on ITV1. The programme followed Kate's struggle to care for her late husband and showed just how much their life had turned upside down. And she was very honest when it came to the financial impact Derek's condition has had on the family.
Derek's care costs more than my salary from ITV. And that's before you pay for a mortgage, before you pay for any household bills, before you pay for anything for the kids. So we're at a crunch point. I am in debt, and I can't earn enough money to cover my debt because I am managing Derek's care.
Oh, it was just really difficult watch. I'm sure you were all part of the millions that watched it last night. And it was just that honesty. It's very, very difficult to sometimes come to things. There's a lot of people feel shame that they can't. You're like, no, but no one can. This is where we're at, and this is now, of course, is what Kate's fighting for.
Yeah, she's always been really open and honest throughout this whole terrible ordeal that her and her family have gone through. And I think you're right, the word shame is wrongly attached to financial issues, and when you're trying to care for a loved one, because you want to give and do everything you can for that person, and she did that for Derek. But I think what she's doing that is positive from this is she's shining a light on there are so many hidden costs, not just for carers, but anybody who's living with a disease or disability, whether your treatment's on the NHS or not. There'll be extortionate hospital parking fees, there'll be overnight stays, prescriptions that don't fall under the NHS, and so much admin that nobody really understands until they go through it or have a loved one that's dealing with it.
Interestingly, she did say in the documentary last night, it really hit me, like about sort of regrets or could you do things differently? And she looking back throughout the past couple of years, she thinks of all the wasted moments where she could have been holding Derek's hand when she's had to do an email or pick a phone up to try and fight for help. And you think this is real life for so many people. And the most interesting part of the documentary for me was Kate said, we are all going to have to be cared for. All of us in some shape or fashion. So let's not shy away from it. Let's have something in place that works.
Yeah. And talk about it whilst we're well. You know, talk to our loved ones and make it clear and, where possible, make a plan. But, you know, it goes back to anything can happen at any time. You don't always have that time to plan financially or logistically.
And it's the whole family is affected, isn't it, Kerry?
Yeah, I think it is. It's the wider family as well, you know, see that tragedy, which we're privileged to be sort of brought into Kate's life to sort of understand the impacts. But after the person's passed away, there's still the emotional impact, the physical impact that you might have had because your health is deteriorated whilst you're looking after somebody else, the financial impact on the rest of the family and the bonds that you all had. You know, so it's ongoing and ongoing. And then if you add what Kate said about the financial impact, which so many people would relate to, how do you rebuild your life? You know, because if some people are thinking, well, if I get ill, it's going to cost me this amount to look after somebody or myself. But you've got to live day to day as well. You know, you've still got to put food on the table, you've still got to pay your mortgage, you've still got to do everything else. So you don't actually think about the fundamental issues of something maybe happening. And that's the thing, you then get in crisis because you're not planning. I'm not currently planning to pass away tomorrow and leave everything even behind.
For Kate as
but
well,
what
now,
would happen?
She's got childcare, you know, she's got children and she's effectively a single parent now. And childcare, as we know, is expensive in this country too. The logistics of it, it's incredibly difficult.
I don't know if anyone actually knows what the cost is. You know, we have NHS who obviously fund a huge amount for us, which is amazing. But at what point does that stop? At what point are you then going, we spoke about charities or other support? Because I don't think any of us know. And it would be nice to have more information about that.
That's so true, because it's like these things can happen where you just don't expect it and suddenly you find yourself in the position, which Kate did, of course.
I think, like the girls are saying, it's that not understanding of what would be covered, what wouldn't, and you see someone who's from the telly and you think, oh, you're going to have loads of money. You say, if Kate couldn't afford it, she couldn't cover it, how can anyone else. You know, it just shows what an enormous financial undertaking it is.
Yeah.
And I think she's very brave because, like you said, there's a lot of shame attached to talking about finances. You know, and people do shy away from it. I understand why they do, because also we live in a society where people are very quick to judge and be like, well, what did you do with your money before or whatever? And like she's highlighted, this is a situation that anyone could find themselves in because, like you say, we none of us think it's going to happen to us. We don't. You don't live going through life thinking I'm going to be in a situation where I have to care for my non-elderly husband. You just don't. But
I always hate that when you see online those slogans of like health is wealth, because you actually think there's people who are never blessed to be born with good health. People are born with diseases and disability, and they can't access that. And it kind of excludes you to think, well, that's not an option for me if you've had a bad accident, you know. I mean, people do their best with their health, but sometimes that's taken out of their hands. So even those kind of slogans can be quite toxic.
No,
I agree with that statement, but I think, you know, on the flip of it, I think the takeaway that I take from that slogan, which I agree, I don't love that the way it's worded, is I think any money or time you do spend on your health is valuable. Like, I think that is never money wasted if you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, very much so. And if you are a carer at home and you're watching this right now, we salute you because it's hopefully the spotlight is on the carers right now off the back of that. It's a very, very, very powerful documentary. It's available to catch up on ITVX, and if any of the issues we've just discussed affects you, please head to our website where you will be guided to lots of different helplines. Still to come today, we'll find out if romance is back on the horizon for Corey couple Dee and Joel, and as Dua Lipa's sister Rina refers to the pop star sibling as her biggest teacher. We share our stories about just how important our relationships with our brothers and sisters are. Coming up after this. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Still to come, it's a trial that's being launched today, but would you phone a helpline staffed by over 60s to ask for their life advice? We're going to be revealing which fellow loose women we'd call if we need help and the ones we probably wouldn't. And speaking of problem solving, are you a natural when feeling the pressure, or do you crumble? Find out which one of us has just had to put their practical skills to the test. First, though, competition time. Lines are closing on Friday. Josie Gibson has all the details. She's in St Ives in Cornwall for us this afternoon. She's got a big coat on, though. It's not that warm after all, eh, Josie?
Oh, I have got a big coat on, yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, ladies. I am enjoying everything that St Ives have got to offer. I've been enjoying the Cornish pasties. I've been enjoying the beautiful beaches. I mean, look at that. But I've also been enjoying the ever-predictable weather, and I've just been caught in an absolute hailstone. I am absolutely soaking. But you know what? I love holidaying in the UK because it's all about adventure. It's all about that unpredictability. And talking of adventure, we have got a holiday home 10 minutes up the road that you could have lots of adventures in and create lots of memories for your friends and family for years and years to come. It's got two bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I was there yesterday. The interior is so luxurious. The kitchen's absolutely superb. It's worth £160,000. It's courtesy of Love It Parks, and it is on the most gorgeous site ever. It's got a kids club. The swimming pool's heated from May, and we're also going to chuck in the £100,000. Here's all the details.
For another chance to win the lodge and the cash. Text prize to 82248. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 782248. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to CD11 PO Box 7558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over, and lines close on Friday the 29th of March at 4 p.m. Good luck!
You could be creating so much adventure and so many memories in lots of different holidays down here in Cornwall. It's absolutely gorgeous, as well as £100,000. It could all be yours, but I hope you picked up the phone today.
Thank you so much, Josie. Go and enjoy yourself there. Thank you. We love Josie, don't we? She's great. Now, next today, singer Dua Lipa's sister Rina has spoken out in an interview with British Vogue. She says that her pop star older sister is her biggest teacher. So when it comes to siblings, just how important is the relationship? You know, sometimes you love them, sometimes you don't. Like, that's what a lot of families have to sort of put up with. What about you,
Mine are all very different.
It's all different. Very different age groups as well, you see, which I think probably makes the bonds different with each person.
Definitely. So I have a very blended family, let's say. So I'm essentially mixed race. I have 2 white brothers, a white sister, mixed race brother and a mixed race sister. And only 4 of us have the same mother. So it's all very different.
Christmas is interesting.
Yeah, it really is. But I'm almost like the linchpin as well because I'm really close to all of my family. So if I have a party, they all come to my house. We all get on really well. So the youngest is 19 years younger than me and the next one's like 2 years younger than me. And I grew up with my 2 brothers who are white. So it's very different from... When you explain your family in the way society is at the moment, you know, to sort of say to them, well, they're my sister. And people go, oh, they're half-sister, or they just step... No, actually, they're my brother and my sister.
Yeah,
that's all I've known.
I bet you are a role model to them because of all your achievements. Like, you must be their teacher.
But I wouldn't say that. But,
well, I'll tell you what, I won't ask you.
Oh, no.
I'll ask your sister, because we've got Lisa, Kelly's sister, in the audience today. Lisa, I will put those questions to you. Is she the linchpin? Is she the one that you all kind of navigate towards and, you know, is the glue?
Yes, she is. But, yeah, we don't get a chance, really. She's great as a sister. She's really busy. She does a lot of things for her trust. She does a lot of things for her programmes like Loose Women, her speaking engagements. But I say, as a sister... If we was doing a family gathering, we're not allowed to win. We're not allowed to win. She has to be the winner.
Yeah.
She has to beat the adults, she has to beat the kids.
Yeah. Sister, no, it just doesn't come into it.
No,
Family does not matter then, does it? Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why she's an Olympian, I guess. Yeah. That's why she's got a gold medal.
Don't get gold without being like that.
No.
It's also hard to have that connection because I have done so many different things and I'm hardly ever around. So my life is so sort of not parallel with theirs whatsoever, if you know what I mean. Not in,
still close,
not in any way better or bigger.
Yeah.
It's just our lives are so different. But when we come together, I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I might... No, let's clap. That's great. Just jumping right in there. I think maybe I'm working towards role model status for my siblings. I think
but you're the oldest.
working on it. I'm on a campaign for it right now. That's been part of it. Because I think when we were younger, my sister and I are very close in age, and she always was more mature than me.
But she's the younger.
She's younger, just a year younger, so we're close. But she was always, more headstrong, more sensible, more mature. So she I felt like when I was wild in my teens and my 20s, which I really was, I wasn't maybe guiding her the best. She guided herself, so bravo to her for that. But as a unit with my siblings, I mean, having siblings, you know, if you're lucky enough to have them, is the best gift. And my mum's like, I told you that when I was younger. I was going, I don't want a sister. But, you know, no one else understands your family the way your siblings do. And when your parents get on your nerves or whatever, and you can get in that group chat and you can... Oh, my God, I've just exposed the group chat.
The secret.
The secret one. Yeah. And you can talk about them. It's a bond that you can't have with anyone else.
Is that what you do then? Well, you've just been expelled from it, but apart from that...
It's a very special relationship if you're lucky enough to have that.
Well, being lucky enough, that's exactly the thing, isn't it? Because, like I say, lots of people, you know, you're not lucky enough to have that relationship, and that's sadly what it is for lots of people. But you are a lucky one as well.
I'm
and that
lucky,
your sister's very close.
I'm middle child, got a younger sister, older brother, and, you know, my sister's my best friend. She's my go-to girl in my phone book. But I don't think you need to kind of berate yourself if you don't have that, because I think it's very common that siblings are extremely different. And, well, I feel like... yeah, that's me holding her there. That's my big brother. Yeah. But I think sometimes you can choose a completely different life path to your siblings and not necessarily have loads in common. And I don't even know if it's our job to be our siblings' role model. And I don't know if you actively go out there and lay the foundations consciously going, I'm going to do this to inspire them and be a good example. people might inspire you and be your role model, and they never tell you that. You know, you can have that when you work with people and you admire them, but you don't necessarily tell them. So I don't think you would know if you're fulfilling that role.
No, I know what you mean. I know. I'm like hardcore about my sister. I've always just had her back. But we're very different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are just the best of friends. I've only ever had 2 fights in my life, and it was sticking up for her with bullies.
I can't imagine you in a fight.
I know.
really
No, don't mean like, you know, none of that, but I mean verbal.
Yeah.
But it was definitely, and it's a lovely bond if you have it. I do. It's very much appreciated. We're sending our love to our siblings today. We pull each other's hair out when we were younger. Still to come, with one American state set to completely ban social media for under 14s. We ask whether children should have to take a test to allow them to use social networking sites at all. And from insurance fraud to secret ex-wives, we chat to Corrie stars Dee Dee and Joel, that's Shanique Sterling-Brown and Callum Lill, on what's next in their explosive storyline. See you after this.
Mum and friend of the show, Christine McGuinness, joins us for an exclusive interview ahead of World Autism Week. She'll open up about the challenges she faces with 3 autistic children and how her experiences have inspired her to help more amazing young people.
I want to educate, I want to help people understand.
Christine McGuinness, tomorrow at 12:30.
Welcome back to your Wednesday Loose Women. Keeping you company for the next half hour, it's Olivia Atwood-Dack, Kelly Holmes, Katie Piper and me, Christine Lampard. Still to come, as an over 60 advice line is launched, offering helpful tips to the younger generation. We discuss which of our fellow loose women we'd turn to and even put them on the spot live on air to see what advice they'd give us. I mean, it depends which one you get there, doesn't it? It really does. And will Dee Dee and Joel find their way back together on the cobbles? We'll find out from street stars Shanique and Callum in a few minutes' time. Now, it's been reported that Florida, in America, will ban all under 14s from using social media by next year. But when it comes to using social networking sites, should we have a testing process before our children are allowed anywhere near them? I know it's very difficult to police, obviously, Katie, and this is the state of Florida. Children under 14 will be barred from joining social media by law from January 2025. So under 14, the legislation directs social media firms to delete the accounts of the under 14s, which is, you know, we do know sometimes it starts one place and then it filters out to others.
Yeah.
It'll take time, but what do you think of it?
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to enforce. I think it's a good thing. You'd probably have to do something like scan your passport before you sign up to the profile to prove it. And whenever I talk about phones and social media and parenting, I'm so conscious that my eldest is only 10. So anything I say to parents who've got sort of 12, 13 up will be like, you don't know what it's like till you get there. But I think it is our job as parents to stand our ground and not buckle to peer pressure, and that sets a good example to the child as well. And I know for some people, if their children don't have access to these apps, then they'll feel that they're excluded from social things and maybe they'll be ostracised and bullied, which I totally get. But I think there's a way to, say, give a child an iPhone without giving them social media. You know, you can have an iPhone for calls and texts without it having access to the internet and a different kind of data package. So I think it's important to try and find ways around it and wait till the child's emotionally mature enough to have the capacity to cope with it, and that's going to look different for every different family.
As you say, it's the exclusion thing, I think, and that'll be where the child really puts pressure on you at home. It's like, but they have it, and she has it, and then she has, and you're like,
oh, I'm getting that already with my 10-year-old.
Exactly. Mine are 5 and 3, and hopefully it won't happen for a while yet, because it's a difficult conversation to have, because we are living in this world when we're all using them. They see us using them.
And I'll let you say, I don't have kids, so I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but it's like you don't ever want your child with a person that doesn't have the thing that everyone else has, because I think that makes life really difficult. But for me, even, literally part of my job is social media, and it's like the apps and the platforms change so rapidly. I even find myself, like, you know, something updates, and then I get a message from someone in one of my, you know, work WhatsApps, like, oh, can you do blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And like, so how, you know, the parents meant to stay on top of, you know, what these platforms are capable of and how they're meant to police them if someone like myself, she works with social media, struggles with it. I think, you know, education is key for parents to understand dangers of these things, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because it's ever-changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I think it's the parents that probably more support and understanding social media and the complexities for the young people and what they have access to. I don't think anyone really knows. And they probably need to teach us more on our phones how we can block certain apps, because I don't think most people would know that.
You should try and find that out yourself? You shouldn't wait for someone else to teach you?
No, I do think you do, but I think the kids are ahead of time. You know, I've got 8 nieces, 2 nephews from, 5 to 21, 22. And the middle young girls, actually, 13, 14, they don't want to be involved with a lot of the social media consequences. They actually said, I don't want social media, I want to use it for TikTok to play,
really?
you know, the TikTok to dance or something, or to see the local football team, but they don't actually want to do it because they've seen their peer groups get into a lot of trouble from some of the interactions they have when you're talking about groups of young people that get people onto harming groups, mental health groups. There's some really bad things out there. So we do have to be aware of that.
It'll be an interesting it'll be an interesting experiment, really, I guess. There'll be a lot of other states and the rest of the world looking to see how it works, and you'll be moving there anyway, won't you? Just
absolutely.
try and avoid the conversation.
So that I can carry on my legislation.
Josie is here now with news of a prize worth more than £250,000 that could keep you on holidays for years to come. You could move to Florida.
There's not long left of our super-sized giveaway. That's £100,000 cash and a brand new luxury lodge in the Cornish countryside. The lines are closing on Friday. But what's it like to own a holiday home?
Well, it means I can come here whenever I want through the year. Plus, my family can use it.
You can just grab a wee bag and come down because it's all there, because it is your holiday home. You know what I mean? Or home from home, should I say.
Our Love It Park's luxury lodge comes fully furnished with all the mod cons, has 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and some decking. It's situated on the Parbola site, nestled in the countryside just 10 minutes from the beach. For another chance to win the lodge and the cash, text prize to 82248. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to the website, entries cost £2. Call 09068 782248. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and phone number to CD11 PO Box 7558 Derby DE10NQ. Entrance must be 18 or over, and lines close on Friday the 29th of March at 4 p.m. Good luck!
Good luck. Now, our guests today might be Coronation Street's top lawyers, but that hasn't stopped characters Dee Dee and Joel finding time to fall in love. It was all going so well until Joel's long-lost wife turned up on the cobbles, revealing his secret child. Poor Dee Dee. Let's have a look at the couple's love story so far.
You're definitely not my type. I am falling in love with you.
You know, I've never felt like this about anyone. I'm just looking for someone.
I told you I would sort this out, and I will.
Who is she?
She's my wife. We were on the verge of ending it, and then she fell pregnant, and we made her go.
So you're pregnant? You have a child?
I'm so sorry.
If you'd have told me all of this at the start...
You wouldn't have given me the time of day.
Maybe I would have.
From now on, I promise I'll stay out of your way.
Please welcome Shanique Sterling-Brown and Callum Lill. So good to see you both. Oh, this love, like, people love this love relationship. They love this, what was going on between you. And here we are. It's taken a dip, hasn't it?
It's a bit of a bump in the road for sure. A lot of lies came out, and it's a shame, but I think it's interesting to see them have the conflict, really. And I think you know, if it's going too well on a soap, you kind of know something's coming, don't you?
Joel's argument is, I didn't lie, I just didn't tell you.
Yeah, I think he's made that mistake of, like, he's met this woman that he thinks incredible, and then he's waited for the right moment, and then the right moment doesn't come, and then he's waited too long, and then all of a sudden he's just dug himself a huge hole.
Yeah, but Dee Dee said, like, if you had told me, can you tell that I'm invested in this?
Yeah.
And I said, if you had told me, I might have just given you the chance.
Yeah.
And I actually do believe that would have happened.
I think so as well. I think, like, you know, trust is the foundation of any relationship, isn't it? And so I think when someone's been omitting the truth, if not lying, for so long, it's really hard for her to come back from, I think. So, yeah.
It's been a really incredible kind of time on Corey for both of you, though, and particularly with the family story as well, alongside for Dee Dee, because obviously her dad, and you're tackling some really big issues that you feel quite a responsibility to portray in the right way.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure you must all feel that a little bit, because it's actually very moving to watch as well, and to see the stuff that goes on behind closed doors that some of us don't want to talk about.
Absolutely. I think with the gambling storyline, you know, a lot of people are affected by that, and the effects of a gambling addiction on a family is monumentous, and I do think it's treated differently to other addictions as well.
Did you have to do a lot of research then to submerge
Yeah, and
yourself?
our research team spend a lot of time, you know, working with gambling charities and stuff, and obviously the support is out there. But yeah, I think especially for Dee Dee as a character, I think this idea that she was away the first time they lost the house and et cetera, she had more sympathy for her dad in a way that other members of the family didn't. But it also kind of meant she was carrying quite a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's been, you know, a real turbulent thing to get to play it as a family has been really special. And all the Baileys are great, you know, I love getting to work with them, so yeah.
What's your relationship like off camera? Are you guys good friends?
Yeah, we all get on so well, don't we?
Yeah,
I'd love it if you said
well.
no.
We hate each other. No, especially though, like coming into a show like Coronation Street, it's so daunting. So, you know, it's a place that I've known since I was a kid. I've never been there. All these people I've known since I was a kid, but I've never met them.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated how, like, welcoming Shanique was. She really took me under her wing.
Aww.
Made me so comfortable, was so supportive and answered any questions I had. You and my girlfriend get on, like, a little bit too well, like the gang.
There's a WhatsApp group, isn't there, amongst everyone? There's like a friendship WhatsApp group, which is very nice.
With me, my girlfriend Roberta, you...
My best friend, who I live with, and we call each other husband and wife. So basically we called it The Gals featuring Callum. I mean, it's just mostly ours taking the mick out of Callum, isn't it?
Yeah. All the time.
That's good.
Obviously, you're both playing a role, right? But I've heard sort of offline, or online, should we say, you get some negative comments about biracial relationship. How does that affect you? Because obviously you're playing a character, but it's a serious subject because this happens all the time. How have you dealt with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, like, we live in Manchester, which is an amazing city. It's a diverse and brilliant city. And I think it's just so normal and natural anyway to see these different relationships. We're not the only interracial couple on the show anyway. And I always just find it so bizarre that people are like, that would never happen. And I'm like, Manchester is such a melting pot, do you know what I mean? And so I think for us, like, it's much more important to just focus on the work, focus on the people that we represent, because that's who's important. And I think actions speak so much, like, louder than anything the trolls have to say. So,
yeah. And Helen, what about you? Joining Corrie, has it been quite a life-changing role?
No, it's been incredible. Like, I feel like I've won the lottery a little bit.
Oh,
like,
really? Yeah. No, I get that, yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I still know I've been there 6 months and I'll be doing a shot on the cobbles and the Rovers will be behind me. We'll finish and I'll turn around and that's the Rovers.
It's so iconic. And I suppose it's quite surreal, isn't it, that you're there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I found out I had the job, like, I hadn't had an acting job for 2 years and I was doing car sales and I was rubbish at it and I didn't like it. Yeah. And then it was between, like, me and 5 and then me and 2 and the minutes were passing, like, so slowly, and then I got the call off my agent to say I got it, and, like, the biggest drama queen. Fell to my knees, like, thank you so much.
Did you call the garage and be like, I've handed my notice?
No, well, I was in. So in my interview that was only like 2 months before, they saw that in my jobs, one of them was that I was in Hollyoaks for a bit, and he was like, so what are you going to do if Corrie call up and say they want you. I was like, what are you going to do if one of your members of staff wins the lottery? It's just not going to happen. So I had to call them and be like, do you remember my interview? You've just called. I start in 3 days.
That's hilarious. Oh, they must have been made up for you then.
No, they were.
On your first day, weren't you in work that morning?
Yeah, so my first day was a Tuesday. I had to do the paperwork of like the last car, then walk for 10 minutes from the car sales place to the Corrie set, and then go straight into costume, and then I felt like Pretty Woman.
That's a movie scene and
so much.
Well, we have loved seeing you both. We love seeing the relationship develop. I know it's not finished, so anyway, we will look forward to seeing what's happened. It's great to see you both, ladies and gentlemen. Champions.
Thank you.
Still to come, we're talking about problem solving. Are you handy at a bit of DIY, or do you crumble under the pressure? Katie has had a bit of a dilemma recently. Find out what that's all about. Well, if only she could have called a helpline staffed by the over 60s to offer advice. It's been launched today, and we're going to be putting our very own version of the test as we call one of our fellow panellists. But who will it be? And more importantly, will they even pick up? Let's find out after the break. See you soon. Again, welcome back to the final part of today's Loose Women. Now, when it comes to advice, who are you going to call? Would you phone a helpline staffed by over 60s in the hope that they are older and indeed wiser? Well, that is the idea behind a trial that is happening this week. And there's something actually I really like about it, Olivia. Do you think it's something that you would, you're thinking, well, who would I ask about that? Maybe you have an impartial bit of advice. That's what you need. Would you call this helpline?
Definitely not against it.
I'm looking at you.
I'm just thinking, I'm very lucky because I do have, people of that age in my life who I could call for advice. I'm trying to think when I call someone I don't know. I do think it depends what you want advice for, isn't it? Because age doesn't necessarily mean like life experience. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It depends what the life's been like. But yeah, I wouldn't rule it out.
But I just...
Give me the phone, go on.
Yeah, exactly. But, I think maybe if someone, I don't know, maybe you've lost your mum or you've lost your dad and there's like a missing sort of an older figure in your life. Maybe something like this does
very
help.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'd go for like love advice and romance. There's a really cute account on Instagram where it's elderly women holding up signs about things they wish they'd known when they were younger in terms of dating. I mean, most of the signs are just like, don't get married.
Yeah, so single.
But there's Edna 801, slow down. You do not always need to be in such a hurry.
Nice little nuggets of wisdom.
Exactly.
I think if someone was lonely, I think if somebody was lonely, it'd be a great place to go.
For a chat,
For a chat, because a lot of people find themselves on their own for so many different reasons in life, don't they?
Of course they do.
So if they thought, there was a group of women who were willing to listen intently, give some supportive advice, motivate them to do something, I think that's a nice way of thinking of it. I mean, I'm too close to the blooming age.
I know. Well, all of the things you've just said, of course, we've got that in our Loose Women here. If you were to call one of our 60s squads, who would it be?
Ruth Langsford for me. Yeah, Ruth. I think because she gives great advice. She's very practical. She's
Ruth,
very honest.
Yeah, she's a doer.
Yeah.
Well, they're all brilliant. Kaye, let's go for Kaye on this occasion.
Linda, because she's naughty.
Naughty.
Tell me whatever I want to do.
You want an enabler. Let's call and see who answers us, shall we? Let's do this. Right.
Let's see.
This is our direct line, I might add.
I've got no idea who's going to answer.
Yeah.
No, maybe no one's going to
answer. Who wants to be a millionaire? That's what it feels like, phone a friend.
Hello? Hello?
Why are you calling me? I'm watching Loose Women. Who is it?
Linda, I knew you can always rely on you to pick the phone up. We're going to ask you very quickly, give us one quick bit of advice on life.
YOLO. You only live once.
You only live once.
You've got to enjoy every minute of it. And push yourself sometimes out of your comfort zone. Try something new every day.
Do something new every day. Linda, we love you. Thank you for answering the phone, and that would have been totally disastrous.
love you too, and I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, yes, absolutely. Nanny Linda, always on the phone. Now, Katie, you didn't need a helpline this week because you are indeed Miss Practical, because you did suffer a bit of an interior design emergency. Is that what we call it?
Oh, it was a real luxury problem, guys. So when I turned 40, I got lots of nice presents, and one of them was a really lovely candle, and quite a big one. And I feel like that's the sort of thing I don't buy myself. I wouldn't buy myself perfume, wouldn't buy myself candles. And it's my fault. I had it on a really low side table, and someone came around and knocked it off, and it smashed. And I thought, I'm not binning a luxury candle. So I scooped it all up, and I got this little glass vase and melted it into that with the wicks as well. And a few shards of glass are still in there. And it's great. I'm burning it, I'm using it, and I've solved the problem. Yeah.
You see, that doesn't shock me, though, because I can see you as being, you are a problem solver. You're very practical, you're very measured.
I'm optimistic. And I'm optimistic, and I just always feel like the problem is never bigger than us unless we let it become that way. You know?
Love
it's
that.
Like,
that's a good one. Yeah. That's exactly what I mean. That's why you would call Katie with that sort of an issue. Yeah, you're very
wax off the floor. You know?
Are you very practical?
I think so.
You're a problem solver.
I think you should give things a go. Because a lot of times we go, I can't do that, but then we haven't tried. So I do use YouTube quite a lot, or Googling. Yeah. Like I was on Disaster the other day. I'm rubbish at doing my makeup, and we do have the luxury sometimes, I have to say, of sometimes just getting a makeup artist because you're going to a big event and you know you've got the cameras all over. So sometimes I just pay for a local makeup artist to come to help me out. And she got stuck on the motorway, and I'm going to this big event. So in my eyes, it was like disaster. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. So I got YouTube, and I'm literally like, give me rock chick smoky. I've got one brush for everything on my eyes.
I mean, that's your biggest problem, that you've got one brush, I think.
Yeah. And honestly, one stage, it was like down my face. I'm like, this is disaster. You know what I mean? But anyway, YouTube.
You did it.
Yeah,
Boy, you're definitely a doer. You won't let any stone go unturned until something gets sorted.
Well, my husband calls me a control freak, but I feel like I'm a control enthusiast. I just really enjoy being in control. And I am a typical firstborn, eldest daughter. You know, my love language is, I feel like I'm a bit of a fixer. If my friends have a problem, my family have a problem, they ring me, I'll be like, I know someone for that. I'm a doer. I can't bear people that kind of dilly-dally or... Yeah, I'm like, come on, let's sort it. Let's not have a meltdown. Let's just do it.
I love that.
You know, there's lots of lovely things about dating footballers. Their legs, the six-pack.
Not their DIY skills.
The life skills are sometimes
anyway.
a little bit lacking, so I make up for that.
Thanks for your company. Christine McGuinness joins us tomorrow. Bye-bye.